You are not the hero of the practice. You are the guide. The patient is the hero. And if you go in with every message that you're sending, social media, website, email, whatever it may be, and you think of it as a way of, how can I help them? How am I going to make them the hero? And what resonates best with them? I promise you, it will be more effective.
This is Growth in Dentistry, a dental intelligence podcast where we ask the question, what does growth in dentistry look like to you? I'm Katie Polson, a dental hygienist and your host. Welcome to another episode of Growth in Dentistry. I am here again with my trusty co-host, Curtis Marshall.
Boom, baby.
Yeah, man. Again, I would encourage you to join our Facebook Dental Intelligence community and rate and review this podcast. And with that, Curtis is going to introduce our lovely guest.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can be your host.
You should be a host. This person, the reason why I say that is because Abbey, boy, I'll tell you what, I know her team, and she has come up as a shining star. She's worked with this company called Hi5 Practice, who is a partner with Dental Intel, and it's been there since 2014. Has proven marketing systems that really help patients' databases to increase referrals, case acceptance, and a whole bunch of other things. Now, this is things that are very well known in many many marketing companies. But what I really like about what Abby's done here, Katie, and why I'm excited that she's on for this topic of Kickstarting 2022, is the fact that the results that they're producing seem to be different, and this is one thing why we're going to jump into it with her. They're different than what we're seeing with other companies, and so excuse me. That's why we're having Abbey on today. So Abbey, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And that is an amazing intro. So thank you, Curtis. But I'm really excited to be on here. Yeah, and talk about marketing in a different way for sure.
Yeah, so this month we've all been talking about Kickstarting 2022 off, and a lot of people use the beginning of the year to come up with their marketing plan. So just straight out of the gate, what do you think practice owners should be doing for their marketing plan for 2022?
Well, and sorry, I'm actually going to interrupt there. Abbey, this is what I know many offices doing, and what many offices should be doing, as far as my uneducated of marketing in 2022, is coming up with a marketing calendar at the beginning of the year and really saying, hey, do this in this month, this quarter. Planning that out beforehand is what we've really seen. But I'm interested to hear what you guys are doing and if that aligns to a marketing calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big thing that gets missed, right? It's a reactive approach when it comes to marketing. You usually start really caring about marketing when you need something specifically profits, new patients, whatever that may be. Then that's a reaction of, oh, now I need marketing and I need it to work right now. Typically, you find that marketing it's something that builds upon. It's a A/B test. You got to try things, you got to fail, you got to try again and win. So it's not something that just happens overnight all the time. Sometimes it does, right? But I think the biggest thing that gets missed that I love talking about, and I'm glad, again, you guys had me on, but when we're thinking of the new year, when we're thinking about really figuring out how to do something differently, the focus is typically, it needs to be with attrition, but typically it's new patient acquisition. How do I get new patients? How can I attract a new audience? How can I give discounts and buy ads to make sure new people are coming in? But what I really want to challenge business owners and leaders is to strategize on a plan for your existing patients. You can market to your existing patients. It's more profitable. It's very effective. And a lot of practices have the tools that they need to do this. It's just it's being neglected. Internal marketing is such a simple and affordable concept, yet most practices are using less than 10% of patient communication softwares, such as, you guys have Modento, right? So we find that only 10% is being used. It's an appointment reminder, maybe a recall, and if there's multiple attempts, sometimes they're only doing one attempt, and a happy birthday reminder. And the reason for that is because that's where people don't complain, right? No one's going to complain about getting a happy birthday message. So the rest of the messages they typically turn off. So at Hi5, we actually implement email and text strategy to use 100% of those patient communication softwares to educate and market to existing patients to add more revenue. And is that I have stats to be like, this isn't just some simple, because a lot of people are like, oh, email is outdated, right? Like, oh, that doesn't really work. Email marketing is 40 times more effective than social media. Yeah, Chris, exactly. It's on your phone. You're checking it every single day, single day. But it's 40 times more effective than social media. That's usually what people are focusing on. Yet 20% of dental practices actually use email marketing.
Yeah, and that's crazy because I'll tell you what, Nordstrom's gets me.
Yeah.
Every time.
And how do they get me though?
The
email.
Yes.
They get me by email. And there's many others, but that's just the one that I opened this morning. Right? So that's a great point, Abby, is not forgetting to do something, but making sure to get all different aspects and not stopping something because you don't think it's working or that's not the new Flash. Oh, It's not the meta universe thing. Right?
And that's what's nice too is, with social media and ads and listings, you're constantly having to keep up with so many different algorithms. And that's why I love what we do, because it's like, you just have to consistently send out messages and nurture the patients that have already bought into your practice, the people that have already been there, that already have the relationship. The reason Nordstrom works is because you know what it is, you've been there before, and now they're just keeping top of mind. Yeah. And that is effective every time because it's like, oh, I know I went to this dentist, but I forget about it. It's not top of mind. If I stay, and even like end of year insurance, everyone's always like, that's the one time they send out an email and tap into their patient base. They're like, oh, that's the best one. This email works every time. The reason it works is because it's the only time they actually do it. It's like the only time that you're utilizing your patient database, you're educating your patients and getting them to come in and making it easy to actually book an appointment on their own. So yeah, it blows my mind that that's just like not being used day to day and not typically in people's marketing strategy. They think of it as a patient communication touch point, which it absolutely is, but it's effective like marketing. So you could use it that way if you really strategize appropriately.
Yeah, I love that. I think about the things maybe that you and your practice are currently not doing right now, and use that as an opportunity to plan for the future. So maybe you do want to try email marketing. Maybe you want to try being more involved in your Facebook or Instagram, but choose one. And then I'd like at the very beginning of sticking to it. Being in marketing, people ask me all the time tricks, and I think my main.
And just to remind everybody, Katie is in our marketing department there at Dental Intel.
But I tell people all the time, there's not some sort of like magical key that unlocks the kingdom of marketing.
There's not a silver bullet.
No.
It's consistency.
Yes.
Patience. And patience. And again, back to testing and then seeing if it works and then doing it again a different way. And for a lot of people, that is a lot of small practice dentists and just people in general, it takes patience and it takes an endurance. And the thing that I, along with what you would suggest is just whatever strategy you choose, whether it's email or text or social media, or if you're going to do newsletters, whatever you're going to do it and then stick with it long enough that you can test it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it can go across all platforms too. If you want more dental implants, educate your existing patients that you offer that service, promote it on social media to expose yourself to a new audience, throw an ad out there that also is a new audience. It's not, to your very point, Katie, it's not a silver bullet, right? But you have so many platforms and opportunities to expand your reach just by hitting those different pain points with the same messaging. You don't expect someone to look at every single one. And if they do, repetition is amazing. Repetition shows that they're going to come back and it's actually going to stick. So if you are doing it on multiple platforms, don't make it hard on yourself and think, I have to have a strategy for social and email and ads and billboards or whatever you're doing. keep it the same, make it
Yeah.
consistent. And so when someone's seeing it multiple times, it's easier on you and it's going to be more effective that way too.
Yeah, and your marketing strategy should reflect your practice goals. So if your practice goal
Yeah.
is implants, then that's what your strategy should be. If you want to do X amount of implants by the end of the year, then just stick with that as your marketing strategy.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. And really for Kickstart in 2022, like I said, everything that's here, really that marketing calendar, putting everything out, you're going to see all those different areas to be improving on.
Yeah. The one thing that I would ask, since you guys do so much with dental, and I've been a marketer in a dental practice, I feel like it's really difficult to do that testing. Like, what do you recommend for people to actually?
I hear A/B testing. I'm saying this for everybody here.
Yeah.
You hear A/B testing all the time, right? And test and come up with the result on it. I'm really interested, Katie. Abbey.
It's difficult to know where and how to do that, because for someone that maybe doesn't know how to do that, what do you suggest?
And that's always the hard part, right? You have your office managers, sometimes dental assistants or hygienists that are sending out these emails. They don't have the time, the expertise, the knowledge to really like know how to start, right? Like that's overwhelming. There's so many things. And when we say A/B testing, you're looking at your open rate, right? So subject lines that you're trying different subject lines. You might send out the same message. If you find that standard of a healthcare email is about 20% open rate. So if you're in that ballpark game, you're doing something right. If you're way below, you might want to resend it out and just change the subject line and see if that helps. You can even, if you want to get crazy, you can even target the list of people that didn't open it and go after them specifically. And then just keep trying and seeing if you get them to open that way. Then there's your click-through rate. So what are they actually engaging with? If you have buttons, if you have photos, if you have videos, if you have local med already in as part of it to really book an appointment online, you can really see what they're engaging with. As far as starting and where to start, you're going to have all your softwares have some kind of templates to start with. Obviously, they do something because they're in there and they're templated and they're ready for you to use. So softwares like Modeno, you can really just take what they have, right? And then customize it to make sure it looks like it's you. So if you have any photos that you use for social media or your website, add personal photography, because they're not just getting a message from anybody, they're getting it from you, and seeing your team, seeing your patients, your office, that's going to resonate with them a lot stronger than a stock photo would. So, I mean, changing elements like that is also going to help. I will say too, we are at Hi5 all about making sure people are taken care of, even if you want to do it yourself. So if you go to our website, hi5practice.com, there's a resources tab in our menu, and you can actually download any of our campaigns that we promote. It's completely free, and you can copy and paste it. There's video scripts, email copy.
So you're saying that because you've already tested things and you know what some things that work. For example, I mean, going back to Obama when he was president, campaigning to be president, right? He had an amazing breakthrough on email campaigns. Mm-hmm. They did a lot of A/B testing, and they found out that just hey in the subject line had more opens, and that's what they're saying made him become president, is by changing that email campaign. Instead of saying who you're voting for, vote for Obama, changing it to HEY, hey, is what made him become president. You're telling me now, Abbey, that you guys have already done a lot of this research, you know what's working, and it's available for free on your site?
Yeah, that exactly. Because we want to make sure people are taken care of. So and that's the hardest part, is making sure trial and error. We've put years and years of experience and marketing experts to try what already works and doesn't work. And like I said before, you're looking at 20% for open rate is a good one. Ours is double that. Ours is anywhere to 40 to 50% with just the open rate. And we can generate anywhere from 20 appointments to 100 appointments, just depending on what the campaign is and the database that we're working with. So you don't have to try to figure it out. It's very complicated and hard. Trust me, it was stressful doing it, but we've got, yes. And Curtis, I want to hit on that point too. When you're talking about like Obama and the hey, I love that you mentioned that, because that's actually the strategy of, are you guys familiar with like Donald Miller Story Brand? I'm obsessed with
Story
his
Brand's
model.
great. It is awesome.
Amazing. So
Yeah, if you haven't read that book, anyone out there, I'd highly
oh my
recommend reading it.
gosh, highly recommend it. It's a great start. They've got a podcast as well. That's amazing. Business Made Simple. Anyway, I'm going to keep plugging them. Their biggest strategy and that mentality of it, and this is what we go by, is you are not the hero of the practice. You are the guide. The patient is the hero. And if you go in with every message that you're sending, social media, website, email, whatever it may be, and you think of it as a way of, how can I help them? How am I going to make them the hero? And what resonates best with them? I promise you it will be more effective. Because if you're thinking of dental implants, talking over their head, oh, you need treatment booked. Well, why does that matter to the patient? Like, why do I care? So we always say we know how to talk to patients because we are the patients, right? We know how to sit there and say, yeah, that's a sweet 3D cone beam that you got, but I don't know what that means for me. Oh, it's going to save you time. It's going to save you money. It's going to be less invasive. Hitting me with those pain points is a lot more effective than saying that, hey, we got all this stuff going on at the office.
I'm the AGDP president, and I've been certified by,
Right. Like that, what really matters to the patient is to try to put on your patient hat and talk to them in a way that's going to make them want to act because they trust you. That is always, and that's what sparked it. Because they talked about the campaigns. They talked about Obama's campaign and how that made it effective was because of he wasn't being the hero. He was making our nation the hero and saying like, I will bring you guys to this other level versus like, I'm the guy,
I'm the one who'll do it. Yep.
Yeah. I'll do it all. It's all me. You're like, no,
and I think a lot of people, especially maybe making a generalization here, but the older generation, when they think of marketing, they think of advertising, and it's not the same
Yellow
thing.
Pages.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Marketing tells a story, and it's not, you're not selling yourself. You're selling what you can do to improve someone else's life. And again, if dentistry can, because I am a hygienist, I see it, it can change people's lives, and that's beauty. And if you can convey that in the way that you've helped other people do that, then that's the best way to do it. One of the ways that I would suggest, just with our software, just with Dental Intel, and I mean, if you can do this with practice management softwares, but it's a lot easier with our software. We have the ability to look at annual patient values and see who are our top customers, who are the most people that have spent the money in our practice, and just reaching out to those people with a little gift basket or something to say, hey, like, we love you. We love, and obviously you trusted us enough to do the work for you. Here's our cards or whatever. Would you mind sharing us on social media? We want more people like you.
Mm-hmm. We want more people like you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just that would be
making them the hero, like Abby was mentioning.
Yeah, exactly. That would be one way to start. Do you have any other, some people are so timid, so clueless, so worried about like dipping their toe in the water with marketing. Is there any other strategy that is actionable like that you could give?
Yeah. We're on Dental Intel, right? So I think the biggest thing to also recognize is doing it as a practice. So with Dental Intel, you guys have the capabilities to actually identify what obstacles the practice is facing and just really understand the overall health of the practice. So by reflecting on numbers, and before I get into actionable too, Katie, I just want to say how you can identify where to find it. So you can find numbers in Dental Intel. Everyone's always looking at collections, production, new patients, right? But I encourage you to look at unscheduled active patients, unscheduled treatment, hygiene reappointment, cancellations, no-shows, and production per visit. Those numbers you're going to be able to address with your emails and text messages. And what's nice about that is you can see where there's opportunity. For one, you can see why it's high, why it's low. And the doctor can really ask yourself what you want to do more of. Mm-hmm. That is how you create a marketing strategy of how you want to communicate. And when you're figuring out what that verbiage is, there's your script. So when you have people that are more timid, more scared, make sure everybody's saying the same thing and kind of in the same direction of what they want to do. So your morning huddles, you really know what your goals are, what you're going after. And if you can, and Curtis, when you were saying this earlier, what do you want to project your plan for the year? That's your plan, right? Like where are my holes? What are my opportunities? What do I want to address? And you can really figure out specific campaigns. So if I look at unscheduled treatment and I see $500,000 is just sitting there, and it's like you can ask yourself, well, why really is that high? It's because patients are pushing back because of money. It's time. It's I don't know if I could trust you as a doctor to do that kind of treatment. And quite honestly, I'm just confused. I don't know what just happened. You just told me a lot of jargon, and I am thinking about how I got to go get the kids and make sure I get home and cook supper and what have you. So those campaigns right there.
And on that, Abby, when you see that number, whatever number that is, whether that's unscheduled treatment or unscheduled patients, right? There's one of two things you can do. You can either go after those unscheduled patients, those unscheduled dollars, and say, hey, I want to get you back in. Yeah. Or starting today, you can make it so that is not the patients who come in today or the treatment that gets diagnosed today does not add to that big bucket.
Yeah.
Right? And for marketing and really a strategy is doing the latter instead of doing the latter first, winning over. And that's why I love what Hi5's doing. You're saying, hey, let's take care of your patients that you already have rather than trying to bring in more. Because if I bring in more, we're just going to add to the problem.
Right.
If there's a problem.
By focusing on your existing patients, you will bring in more. And the thing is you're not getting price shoppers that are just trying to get that $59 new patient special. You're getting referrals and they leave anyway. They took up the chair. Yeah.
Or getting amazing patients and presenting them treatment. And because of what you're doing, they're not accepting because that's what's
exactly
right. So one of two things you can do. You can either go get more or you can take care of what you already have.
Yep.
I'd highly recommend the second. But I don't know about what you're saying.
And it'll fill that bucket. Yeah, absolutely. And you got to make it easy for them to refer. But if they're having a great experience, if you're looking where the opportunity is, you're figuring out why it's high and low, that's your messaging right there. And then where the opportunity is your targeted list.
Bingo.
And then
I hope everybody picked that up.
That's it.
If you're sitting down, write that down. Once again, you're first focusing on how to improve, and then you go target the ones that you missed out on. Improve today, go fix yesterday.
And a lot of times you're going to have people that their focus is accepting treatment is when they're in the office. Well, it's like, well, how did they get back in the office, right? So when you're talking about people that may not know what to say, if they're timid, if they don't know how to market, email and text your patients. That's what you need to do. That's very less intimidating because you're communicating to a bunch of people at the same time. You're exuding the information that you want to convey, right? Because you're letting them know, oh, if money is the problem, did you know that we have an in-office membership program for you? And we can help you save money that way. We offer care credit. We will claim any insurance that you want. By educating them, just because you live and breathe it every day doesn't mean they understand that and know that. And by telling them and being consistent with that messaging and targeting that specific list on those 4 pain points, money, time, trust, and confusion, how are you going to answer those? If they were in the office, how would you answer that? Write it out, send it in an email, put a photo in there, a button for them to book an appointment, and I promise you it'll work. And if it doesn't, change the subject line to try again.
Or go to hi5.com and download their templates. And are the subjects on there too?
Subjects are on there. We have emails, texts. Some have video scripts as well. So if you want to shoot a video on your iPhone, it shows you, it not only has a video script, but it walks you through how to upload it to YouTube, how to name it, how to add it to an email, how to design a photo in Canva, because we love canva.com. But it comes down to time, that's the hardest part, but at least that's some kind of direction.
That's a great start for those people that are timid. The other thing that I picked up on that you said, and I wrote it down, was, so in business, we call it a customer life cycle, but in practice, I would call it a patient life cycle. So like what the marketing is, what you put out there on your social media, or, is a reflection of what they should feel when they come into the practice, and it should be what they
Yes.
feel when they leave the practice. And so making sure that there's not a disconnect from when they see your Instagram posts and figure out who you are there to what they get when they're in the practice, and then what they get when they leave.
Expectations, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, this has been a fun 25 minutes.
Yes, it has.
We ask the same question for every guest on our podcast. Growth is personal. So what does growth in dentistry look like to you?
To Abby, what does growth in dentistry look like to you, Abby?
Ooh, I love this question. The biggest thing to me is really understanding, we kind of talked about it, understanding your patients, right? It's not just about generating more money. It's about setting up the right automations and processes to help with efficiency that also provide the patients an amazing experience. We like to say unmatched experience, right? So I think it's growth means that you feel good within yourself, but it's really helping the healthcare community, and that's your patients. Like they have more control than ever now with booking online, with having emails, by Google reviews and researching treatment and technology. And if you're not the authority of your own patients, if you're not their trusted provider of like giving them that education and they have to find it and go search it, you're not growing, right? Like you need to be growing and making sure that you are their educator, you are their trusted provider, that they can go to you and ask questions or seek answers that they're looking for through you. And if you're able to provide that experience and let them do what they want to, book online, communicate with you in different avenues, you're not growing, you're just stagnant. You need to be fulfilled that way by knowing that you're providing the best experience possible to your patients. So that to me is growth, is making it easier on yourself, your team, and your patients.
Yeah. Thank you. That's great.
Wow.
Yep.
Isn't that cool? I love how everyone's answer is different.
I know.
The other day we had somebody basically saying, profits.
Yeah.
Another one saying more locations. So the fact that you said that, Abby, thank you.
Well, it's been fun. Thank you so much. This has been Growth in Dentistry, a dental intelligence podcast. Again, special thanks to our guest, Abbey Stanerson. You can find her at visit her. Well, visit hi5practice.com. They are doing free marketing consultations. So if you want to schedule those, you can do that right from their website.
And it's HI, the number 5, not spelled out 5. HI5, like giving me a high five, practice.
We'll put that link in our show notes, as well as check them out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at HI5 Practice, or you can call them at 615-656-8551. And again, we'll have those on our webpage and show notes. Thank you again to Curtis for joining me today. And thank you to our marketing department for all their work on this podcast. I am Katie Polson. Keep growing.